Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today I wanted to share with you this Delftsblauw Dutch design. I made it entirely with water decals, so if you're curious to see how I made this, please keep on watching. So first up, I use my irregular Essence SOS Protect and Resist base coat, so I already applied that. And I'm going to apply 2 layers of my favorite white Catrice nail polish in the color 15 Milky Bay. And first of all, I always start applying my nail polish around the cuticle area and just drag it down along the length of the nail. So if you're curious to see how I actually paint my nails regularly, do let me know in the comments down below, and I can actually make a detailed video about that when I go through my nail painting process, like step by step, if you'd like me to. So just paint your nails like regularly, and don't forget to cap off the edges as well, because when you cap off your edges, it actually makes sure your manicure stays put a very long time without chipping. And what you could actually also do if you don't want to cap off your nails with both layers of the nail polish, just do it for the first layer of colored nail polish and then just cap it off with the top coat as well. That way it also stays put for a really long time. Then it is time for the water decals when your nail polish is fully dried. And I'm just taking this little set and I'm just going to cut out all 5 of the designs I want to use today. You could actually just use 1 or 2 designs for a couple of nails if you don't want to do the entire hand with the same design. But since these water decals are all a little bit different each, I didn't feel like it was such a big deal to just use the entire design on all the nails. So when you've got them up, you want to take a bowl of water. I always just use regular tap water. It's really cold here in the Netherlands when I recorded this, so this water is pretty cold as well. I don't feel it makes a big difference if I use like warm water or cold water or lukewarm water. It doesn't really matter in my opinion, so just regular tap water is fine. Then first up, you want to make sure you get rid of that clear film that is on top of the water decal and just dunk it into the water for like half a minute or something. The longer you keep it in the water, the better it comes off, and in the meantime you can just take a sip of your favorite flavored tea. And then just take it out, tap it off at the side a little bit so it's not super wet anymore, and you can easily slide it off. If it doesn't come off easily, just dunk it back into the water for a couple of more seconds, because it has to come off really easily. If it doesn't, just throw it back. And I'm just applying these with a couple of tweezers, and sometimes you need another finger to help yourself, you know? Especially when you do it on your own nails, sometimes you just have a hand like short because you have to do everything with one hand. So just use another finger from the hand you're working on to keep it down and press it down. And for the edges, this one was a little bit more of a thicker water decal, so I just used my own fingers to press it down, and just press it down gently. You want to make sure there are no air bubbles underneath this water decal. And with a really finely tipped dotting tool, I'm just pressing down the edges a little bit more, so it's easier to get rid of that excess water decal later on. Then to get rid of the excess, like sometimes your water decal is too big, it was in this case as well, so I just take a little bit of my favorite nail polish remover. It doesn't have to contain acetone or anything like that. I use an acetone free one for this tutorial and just one of my random nail art brushes. Oh, and I'm also taking a little bit of a makeup remover, like a cleansing wipe. I just used before I was filming, so this one is still a little bit wet, and I'm just using that to clean off my brush in between dipping it into the water decal and before I go back into the nail polish remover. So I just took a little bit of nail polish remover and put that in the cap of the bottle of remover, so you can easily pour that back if you took out too much. And I'm just going around the edges to make sure all the excess decal will come off. And you don't even have to apply that much pressure. You don't have to use that much nail polish remover either. So just work slowly and gradually the excess will come off. And the reason why I clean off my brush with about every swipe I take is because I want to make sure I can still use this brush afterwards, and I don't want to contaminate the nail polish remover too much, especially when you took out too much. You just want to pour it back in if you haven't used it, you know. So just make sure you clean your brushes if you have to. And this part I just sped up because for all the other nails it is exactly the same step. So I'd say just watch and learn. And as I said before, just make sure you can peel it off easily. If it doesn't come off that easy, just dunk it back into the water for a couple of more seconds. And when you are ready to use like a dotting tool or an orange stick or something to press down the edges a little bit more, don't press too hard because you don't want to perforate the water decal. It's better to just remove the excess with some acetone or some nail polish remover, especially when you have kind of thicker water decals, because you can kind of ruin the design if you puncture through it. And just clean off your brush in between. Then I was dunking in the design for the middle finger, and by the way, all the stuff I didn't use, so all the paper, like the clear film that's on top, I just throw that on a little like board. Usually I just use caps of like a container to mix some of my polishes, but I can also just use it as a little sort of trash can, so you collect all of the stuff you don't need and you can just throw it out afterwards without finding the clear film everywhere or those little paper backings. I'm kind of like a neat person when it comes to working, even on my own nails. If I'm working by myself just on my own nails, just like I did recording this, I like to keep my desk pretty neat while I'm at it. This water decal actually was a little bit too small for my nails, so I just made it work by keeping a little bit of open space, and then we're going to blend that in later on. So you just want to take a little bit of that acetone and just run it over that line where you have that little like open space, so it blends in a little bit more with the nail polish we added before. And sometimes it can be pretty hard to take off that clear film, you know. And here I'm popping on that last water decal, And if you're curious to see what that pink polish is like, it actually is a gel polish, and I made a first impressions review about that, and I'm actually going to film another video about that just to show you how it wears, what the wear time is, and so on. But for now, while I was filming this, I was wearing it for a little bit over 1.5 weeks, so it's still on pretty decently if you ask me. And here I'm going to show you how to fix that little line. So I'm just taking a little bit more of that white polish and just running it kind of randomly over that line and just using some nail polish remover to blend that in a little bit more. And I am going to do the same for the tip of the middle finger because that line was a little bit too harsh for my likings. And then to finish the entire design off and make sure that the nail polish or the manicure lasts a super long time, just apply a decent amount of top coat and don't forget to cap off the edges as well. It's not mandatory to cap off your edges, but if you do want to make your manicure last a long time, it is pretty handy to do so. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.